Congratulations, you finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young and Norvelle Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest scores, analyzing the big plays, or gearing up for tonight's games, we've got you covered. So grab a cold one, settle in, and let's talk sports. Here they are, Patrick Young and Terry Norvelle.
Welcome to a fun Friday edition of the Young and Norvelle Show. Terry Norvelle right here in our beautiful Action Sports Jax studio on a Friday. Kind of a weird weather day there. We've got this, as we welcome Zach Rothrock to the show, our producer, of course. Zach, I guess we have started this final little cool down we're going to have. Kind of weird out there.
Yeah, that's kind of a dangerous game to play to call it the final. There could always be more.
Yeah, okay,
but
you're right. Little blustery out there today, right? Would you call it blustery?
Yeah, it feels real good.
But I think what we need, Zach, I don't think we've got quite enough pollen floating around out there right now. My God, I'm all choked up, and everything's yellow out there. Have you noticed?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a yellow hue floating about.
Yeah,
it's getting in the lungs.
What is and we need pollen, right? Pollination, pollen, bees, honey, flowers, something.
I don't know. Well, I learned about the birds and the bees, and I really just felt like it was a metaphor for something else. So I don't really know how that works.
Don't go to the birds and the bees here now. Is that ecological? Is that the right word out there in the trees and the birds and the economical, ecological?
Ecological sounds right.
We need pollen, though, right? Pollen's not just something like a gnat. You know, we don't need gnats, do we? Why do we have gnats?
I think they're important. I think they're important for the greater infrastructure.
Pollen can gives you a little congestion. I get it for 3 or 4 days, and it goes away. I feel for these people, man. A lot of people have 6 weeks of this stuff, man, where this hay fever pollen just wears them out. You know, some people get shots for that. You know that? Go get a shot.
I mean, yeah, it's a tough,
Man, we got a lot to do here on a Friday. 2 hours to get it in. We're going to hear from our buddy Stuart Webber. Stuart Webber, obviously one of the great sports broadcasters here on Action Sports Jax. Stuart's working tonight, I think, the TV side, so he's going to – whoa, fumble. Hold on, Zach, fumble.
What's happening?
Fumbled my highlighter. My yellow – see, this thing was black when I walked in. Look at that.
All right, the pollen got it.
Pollen right there. But anyway, Stuart Webber will duck in here. We'll hit Stuart with a lot of different topics, get his opinion on nothing going on with the Jaguars general manager. It looks like some more in-person GM interviews will happen. I think next week they're going to name somebody, don't you? By next week, they're going to name a guy.
Yeah, I mean, like we said yesterday, I mean, they're kind of run out of time. The game of musical chairs is going to come to an end. And you got to get ready for the combine, the draft, et cetera. So, I think that there would be an issue if they didn't get it by the end of next week.
Yeah, next week.
Probably early next week.
It just feels like that. Stuart, who has probably been down to the facility a couple times this week, he'll probably have a good feel. We'll talk to Stuart about that. Big news for Gator basketball. Did you hear?
What is the big news?
Micah Hanlogden, the legitimate starting center from last year, 7'1", scores at about a 5, 6, 7 point clip, can score around the basket. He's a rim protector and a shot blocker. Hanlogden, the ugly injury last year against Auburn in the SEC championship game, the ugly broken leg, it protruded through the skin. It was, you know how bad it was. He major surgery a long time ago, about a year ago. He has rehabbed perfectly. His rehab, it looks like, has gone perfect. He started working out November, December with the team. He's been working out, really seriously thought about coming back. I mean, he's been practicing full participation with the team for 2 months probably. There was talk, as a matter of fact, Todd Golden listed him on the availability report about 3 or 4 games ago when they played Georgia, but he didn't play. And he and Golden came out and said, hey, you know, it's as much a mental thing. He's physically ready to play. He thought about joining the team. Obviously, he'd burn a redshirt year this late in the year.
Right.
And he's got a couple years left if he so chooses. But he said, nah, you know what, I just don't think. And Todd Golden said, hey, man, this is his decision. If he wants to come back, great. If he wants to wait, if he's not ready. So 2 weeks ago or so, Zach, not ready. Just not ready mentally. So, okay, get you next year. It was announced today. Hanlogden has told Florida, told Coach Golden, I'm playing. I'm ready to go. So he is. Florida is now as good as they are, and I do not have a source here, but I don't think this is related to the Alex Condon injury. It appears Condon's low ankle sprain. They've got a 2-week window where they could hold him out. It appears Condon's going to be back. I mean, that's not a season ending. I don't think these two are tied. I think Micah Hanlogden, and I don't have a source again on this. I think Hanlogden, he's been at every game. He travels. He's at every game. I think he's like, man, this is something special going on. I want to get in the middle of this.
Yeah, for sure. That's probably plays a factor. It'd be really weird to bring him back just because you lost Condon. So yeah, I agree. I don't think that's it.
I don't think they're tied in. But
no.
He's scheduled to play tomorrow night. He'll be active, dressed, and ready to play. Condon's out for several games. Florida, if you had to have an injury, this is the time of year to absorb an injury. Florida's got 4 teams in a row that are not ranked. And by the way, Zach, it's hard to have 4 separate games in the SEC basketball season this year and not face a ranked team. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to definitely beat South Carolina tomorrow night and Georgia and Oklahoma and LSU, whatever order it is. But there's a pretty good chance I would keep Condon out probably all 4 of those games. That's 2 full weeks.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, it's honestly, I mean, the way I'm looking at it, because if you're the Gators, you're playing for the end game. Like you're pretty set in that you're going to be a tournament team at this point. So you're playing for the end game.
Absolutely.
And so if you can bring back Hanlogden and bring back Alex Condon within a couple weeks, you can give them a chance to gel to play. And the SEC tournament setting would be about when that time, or a little bit after that. You give them a chance to gel, and then you're really ready to go, and then you can be ready to play your best to meet your peak in March Madness. So it's honestly kind of lining up to be somewhat of a perfect storm.
It really is. I'm going to throw this out, and I'm not going to say this is a problem, but I'm telling you, one thing that Golden's going to have to deal with when Condon comes back, and I think he's going to be back, definitely, and you know, he'll rehab that thing, and he's already had a week. When did he get hurt? He got hurt Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week, then the next 3 games, he'll have a good 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks.
Right.
If they want to hold him out the next 4 games.
Yeah, no, it feels like
when Condon comes back. Condon comes back. Elijah Martin. Remember, we thought he was coming back Tuesday. He did not play. Martin should be ready to go. He was very close. I think Sam Alexis might be out for tomorrow. But where I'm going, let's fast forward a month from now. With Hanlogden entering into the roster, Golden's going to have a hell of a time getting minutes for everybody. I mean, that's a good problem to have. Real good. But, I mean, you talk about an insurance policy for March Madness, especially if you go up against you may catch a crew, an officiating crew, that they're quick whistle. And they just call the game, and they're whistling your game. That's a lot of depth. That's a lot of front court depth. A lot of depth. And Hanlogden, there aren't a lot of 7-1 guys running around in college basketball. He is a legit long 7-1 rim protector. He blocks a lot of shots. He scores around the basket, but he's there. He's back there. You know he's back there.
Yeah, and I mean, we just saw the guy, Zach Edey, he kind of can play.
Sure.
Yeah, a guy like that can carry your team in the tournament, especially when you know, the Gators have a ton of talent around that too. So, yeah, I mean.
And one good thing about Hanlogden, this Florida team does not have a problem putting points on the board. He's not a scorer. He's not going to eat the ball on the offensive end, right? He doesn't need 25 touches and 16 shots. They got those guys. They got scorers, right?
Yeah,
what Hanlogden brings is stuff that they don't – they've got a lot of defense, but you can never have enough rim protectors. Never, ever, ever have enough rim protectors. So great news. Weird news out of Gator football. Gator football program, it was announced today. Really weird news. When you look at the calendar, we're only a few weeks away from spring practice, pretty much across the country. That starts mid-March, most spring practices, football. Florida's secondary coach, Will Harris, just went, and he's going to the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Really strange. Really strange
timing. It kind of
timing.
felt like it came out of nowhere for the most part.
Strange timing. Real Strange timing. So a lot of topics. SEC hoops we're going to look at for tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. The monumental game. It's still hard to believe. First time ever in the SEC they will have a 1 versus 2 interconference. How about that? And Zach, I think this is a real good. This speaks to how good the SEC is in basketball this year. The SEC will experience their first ever 1 versus 2 conference teams playing each other, and neither one of those tomorrow are named Kentucky.
Yeah, and this match is honestly substantially more important than this year's Iron Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is kind of something I would
How weird
not
is that?
necessarily expected, yeah.
How weird is that? And, they play again. This one's in Tuscaloosa tomorrow.
Right.
They play in Auburn. I think it's the last regular season game. They do play twice. But that would almost be like saying, wow, a huge SEC football matchup, 1 versus 2, and it not be Alabama. That speaks to the strength of your football. Well, this speaks to the strength. You would think that if the SEC is ever going to have a 1 versus 2 regular season game, 2 conference teams, Kentucky would be one of the ones, right?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of anticipated them potentially taking a step back with Calipari being out. But, I mean, yeah, I get the point of what you're saying. They are the bluest blue blood in the conference.
So, a lot of other topics to get to today. Have you seen? I have not, but I'm not sure they used my theory and my logistics that I tried to help. Did you see any of the Eagles' celebration Super Bowl parade party today?
I saw that Howie Roseman got
hit by a beer.
Yeah, I got the big. I'm gonna try to pull the picture up of that. Actually, yeah, he got a ring on his face.
They were supposedly
he bleeds for the city.
The fan and Roseman is the GM, right? For the Eagles, and they had their parade. I don't think they took my advice. My advice, and I was just, Zach, I'm a helper, right? Everybody knows I'm pretty much a helper. It's about you first, not me. It's about society. I want to help. I want to help my community. I'm a helper. I don't put myself first, Zach. You know that, right?
I understand.
And I wanted to help the Eagles with their 1 million participant Super Bowl parade. And I don't know if they took my advice, but I thought, just from a logistics standpoint, to make it easy in, easy out, they should have just had that at the Philadelphia prison yard, right? Just have it right there at the prison yard, right? They just could let them out, right? And they're already there. But they didn't do that, right? They went ahead and did it at downtown Philadelphia?
Yeah, and there were people climbing the poles that I guess they didn't grease this time for whatever reason. Yeah.
But didn't you like my idea? They should have just had it right there in the prison yard.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, fans, as I understand it, Eagle fans were, and I don't mean this mean, they were supposedly throwing beer cans, full beers, pitching them kind of to the Eagles players in brass, right? Hey, here's a beer. Right? So it wasn't like the GM for the Eagles got struck out of malice. Some dude, I guess, threw him, and he wasn't looking, I guess? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I mean, I think as much as the city of Philadelphia loves Howie Roseman, I think if someone had intentionally chucked a beer can at that guy's head, they would have been on him like roaches on food. They would have just been attacking the person.
So he caught the beer with his eye, basically? The beer can?
I think he just didn't see it, and it caught him right in the middle of the forehead.
Do you know if he picked it up and drank it? If he shotgunned that beer, that would be legendary, in case you're wondering.
I don't know that he did that.
Like the girl at the 16th hole the other day we had? Were you working that day? Do you have a picture of him? I heard it was a big mouse.
Yeah, I can't get one that I can grab. I'm working on it.
All right, he's working on that. But I don't think they had it. I think for logistics, they should have just. Why would you not have just had it at the prison yard, right? Oh, those Eagle fans.
Yeah, I get it, because then they could just, they would already be there.
And just blow the whistle when it's over, blow the whistle. Everybody goes back in. And actually, go right back into the cafeteria, have your lunch, or what have you. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Big Saturday in SEC basketball we want to talk about. We know about the big game. I looked at the bracketology today, midday. What's his name, Lenardi?
Right.
He's got Florida as a 1 right now. Now, this is off the 2 big wins, the 2 road wins. He's got Florida as a 1 seed. I think it's important. You get a 1 seed, I mean, it's very, very rare that you don't make it out of the first weekend as a 1. I mean, it's only happened a couple times, right? I mean, you're jumping into that second. If you get a 1 seed, you're almost guaranteed sticking around for the second weekend, right? And you get to the second weekend, you're in Sweet 16. Okay, you win the Sweet 16. If you get, I've said this, and Patrick Young obviously can speak to this because he's played this game at a high level. Once you make it to the Elite 8, that's the second game of the second weekend. You with me?
Yeah.
Once you make the Elite 8, you can win the whole damn thing. It's a matter of, does the ball bounce your way? It's a matter of, if there's a critical call, right? I mean, you make the Elite 8, you're in. You get a 1 seed, it's almost impossible not to at least make the Sweet 16 round, right? I mean, you've only been upset, what do we have, 2, maybe 3 now? 16's beaten 1? It's happened twice in the last.
Yeah, and it took a long time to have it happen one time.
Did you brought up Zach Edey and that Purdue team? Were they one of them? Virginia was the first one, I think. Maryland, Baltimore County beat them, remember?
I want to say a Syracuse team was involved.
Syracuse?
I could just be saying that, though.
I think it was Zach Edey's team, too.
Potentially.
The 7-4 guy got beat by and they were the shortest team in the tournament.
Right.
Whoever beat them. Whoever beat them at that time.
Day late and a dollar short, but there's the Howie Roseman. You can see he's got a big.
He caught it in the forehead.
But that's an all-time great picture, though. I mean, if I'm him, I'm using that as my profile picture for everything.
Keep that up. Oh, absolutely. Is that a big old cigar too?
Oh yeah, big stogie, big victory stogie.
So he didn't even. Man, that says badass right there, doesn't it? I mean, that's a badass coat. He's got badass gloves on. That's a badass stogie.
Big time stogie.
He took it to the and by the way, that was a Peyton Manning 5-head. That wasn't a 4-head. And I mean, I know I'm losing mine, but I'm a lot older than that guy probably.
I'm gonna bring it in a little closer for a little more detail.
Let's take a look. That's man. I don't really like much about the Eagles or the fans.
If you look at him, you can see that's a perfectly that is like a half of a Bud Light bottom of the can. Right.
Hey, the only
perfect semicircle.
The only thing to make that whole setup right there better is if he had the crushed beer can in his hand.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that he had he pounded it. Wow.
Yeah, I assume he shotgunned it. It was already just gone.
That's got to be the coolest The Jaguars need to hire a guy like that.
I think that every NFL team is looking to replicate what this man has done. I mean, really, he's just done what we have said that needs to be done. He prioritized getting the big meaty guys, O-line, D-line, O-line, D-line, and you build from there. And that's what this guy does, and that's why he gets to celebrate the victory stogie and not really give a damn that he got hit in the head with a beer can.
Holy cow. That is great. That is great. Boy, you're right, too. I hope Eagle fan realized that was just an innocent pitch of a beer, you know.
I'm sure it's rowdy. It's crazy. I've seen clips of the local news having to apologize left and right for all the F-bombs the players are saying into the microphone. It's just. I think it's just one of those days where people just assume that stuff like this will happen.
Hopefully.
I mean, if hopefully that's the most legendary thing that happens from the parade is that. Hopefully it's not something crazy like the horse crap.
Being serious for a minute before we get Being serious before we go to our first break here, the issue, and I guess that thing probably got started at noon. That's probably when they met.
Yeah, pretty early.
Hey, you had the mayor. I'm sure the mayor talked, and the this and the that talked, and they had a podium. I'm sure, and then they got in the cars. Right, probably started at noon. That's probably not the problem. You know what the problem is? The sun's about to go down.
Yeah,
and
they're not going to stop.
And they're not. No. And I'm being serious. We kidded around a little bit yesterday, but I would imagine there'll be a couple of deaths. I mean, you can't get that many people together. And I don't know what it is about these victory celebrations and I guess alcohol, but it breeds you said it yesterday, mob mentality. Even though you would think you're all one mob. You're on the same mob.
So I just Googled it, just kind of mostly hoping that I would get nothing back in return. I literally Googled, has anyone died in the Philadelphia Eagles parade today? 2 people were shot. It doesn't say they were killed. 2 people were shot. This story broke about an hour ago. 2 women were shot along Philadelphia's Ben Franklin Parkway on Friday during the parade. So, yeah, so there has been that. I don't know that it was fatal. I hope they're okay. Let's
hope.
Let's hope that that's the only incident and that it isn't fatal. But yeah, unfortunately,
we have gotten into a period. How long? It's been about 20 years, probably. These celebrations turn fatal. I mean, almost all of them. When you get that many people, and it used to. Remember, I painted the picture. It used to not be that way. You remember the Yankees would win the 1964 World Series. That's a ticker tape parade. Millions of people, hundreds of thousands, are lining the street. But the confetti's falling, and everybody's smiling, and everybody's happy. It turned, man. It turned. It's almost a badge of honor. And you know my stance, and I think, Zach, you and I have the same stance on our police officers. I mean, I think they're precious, and they're wonderful. Those big celebrations also, somehow, a lot of the fans think the police are the enemy. And, you got to have barricades, and you can't let them just, you know. But, man, it gets so confrontational.
No, yeah, I mean, and it definitely, a celebration like that is going to take up a lot of the town, like the police's, their tax dollars, just their funds is going to be spent on that. Really just on unnecessary incidents like these people getting shot, etc.
Yeah.
But I mean, the city won. You got to celebrate with the people.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it mostly goes well. I will say that I've seen far more positive clips and positive pictures and videos and moments from the parade than the few. I kind of had to search out for that story, and the Howie Roseman thing is just kind of funny.
You know who's having issues with celebrations? And I would have never thought this sports program would be the leader. Vanderbilt is having problems. Football storming, field storming, court.
I know.
So they're talking about, the NCAA is really trying to figure out what to do with the court stormings. I mean, it is hard to, the fines aren't working. Vanderbilt keeps storming the court.
I've seen the idea being floated out of you have to forfeit the game if you do that, which I think that's a bit much. Ooh. I don't like that idea necessarily.
So, what would prevent me from buying 1,000 front row tickets if I'm the other team?
Right. And just
listen. If we don't win, you guys run on the court.
Yeah, storm it and wear the home team's.
Yeah, you can't. That was almost like, I don't remember the topic we had, and I was saying, wait a minute, that theory I think is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
I mean, just think about how incredibly frustrating that would be as a player if you fought all week and all day for 4 hours to get the win, just to have it all snapped away because your fans decided they had to run on the field and celebrate.
Speaking of, and you'll remember this from the World Series. Remember the Yankee fans that basically grabbed Mookie Betts' glove when he was trying to make the catch and all?
Yeah, they were like, "This is our corner. We protect this corner. This is us."
And you remember those two guys? That one guy, he looked like he had a big head start on being crazy, right? His face just said cray-cray.
I mean, if you're in the crowd and you actually literally think you're in the game, you have a screw loose.
Yeah. So, they have been banned from all major league parks pretty much across the board. So the real cray-cray, this came out a couple weeks ago, and I didn't get on the show. I wanted to. The really crazy-looking guy, you know the one I'm talking about. The one guy, I mean, he really looked like he had a head start on being crazy. He was crazy in the womb, right? I mean, this guy was nuts. So he was lamenting that how his life, and he just doesn't want to be remembered for that, and he wishes it would just go away, and he wants everything to go away, wants to forget about it, as he was talking to the New York Post. And of course they were rehashing, and his thought in the article was, I don't want any publicity. I don't want anything. I just want it to go away. I'm not a bad guy. I made a bad decision in a split. Well, you're trying to have it go away as you're talking to the New York Post, which got picked up by ESPN, right?
Yeah, it's like yelling, please leave me alone. Please stop following me. I will be, and then give your exact location. Yes. You're going to be leaving the restaurant.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You don't happen to have that guy's face, do you?
I have been, I'm working on it.
Crazy Yankee face guy? That guy is nuts. All right, let's take a break here. We'll come back. We'll dive into a lot of the topics we have kind of teased you a little bit. I told you about Florida football coaching staff movement. Will Harris leaves. Boy, this is an awful weird time to lose a coach for Billy Napier. I want to get into that a little bit. And Georgia football has added a coach, and it's a pretty good pickup it looks like, for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. That and a whole lot more. He is Zach Rothrock. I'm Terry Norvelle. Cruising on a Friday. Stick around with us. Feel free to drop us a chat. We'd love to read your questions, comments, or thoughts about our show as we go live. Back after this quick timeout.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jax Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jax Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jax Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dynamic Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Webber, and I'm here to teach you a nice three-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming, from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great.